So why do you think, what makes you different than some other 27-year-olds? Is this a typical conversation, or did it come from your father?
So originally, I think I've been always, I'd say, like, not death positive, but open-minded in those terms. I think it's just my parents. They're very honest. So sometimes, from time to time, over my childhood, they've been dropping like, hey, we're actually not gonna be here forever. Let's enjoy this moment. So I've been always curious. I've always had this idea and a little passion of mine to do something in this field, maybe to help people come to peace with some of those ideas. And things are easier when you know about them ahead.
Welcome to the Digital Legacy Podcast, where we talk about death and dying in the digital age. If you ever asked, how do I protect myself and those I love if something unexpected happened to me? You're in the right place. I'm your host, Niki Weiss, and together we'll explore how to protect yourself in a world where both your physical and digital legacy leave a lasting impact. And welcome back to another episode of the Digital Legacy Podcast, where we talk about death and dying in the digital age. And today my guest is Kate. Kate, you're coming in for Pantio. And for those that don't know, Pantio is another exciting death tech solution that's coming out to memorialize our legacy. And so, Kate, welcome to the show. And tell us, please, what is your story and how did you get to this death tech space?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me here today. An amazing opportunity. And a great way to educate people. So I joined this company as a client first. My friend started it a while ago after losing his grandfather, and just experimenting with some technology that is out there. He comes from an extensive AI background, like 6 years in memory and AI. And when I've learned what he is doing, I immediately thought, hey, I really want this for myself and for my dad. So I came actually as a pre-planning client because what we're building, what he was building when I joined, is a new way to capture one's personality, voice, life values, and keep them in an interactive way to preserve and maintain a dialogue between generations for as long as we can.
And now, I have to jump in because, Kate, you said for yourself,
yeah.
So you're kind of, how old now?
Well, I'm 27.
And so I'm blown away and excited at the same time that we can have this conversation, with someone who's just, starting their career, building their life. So why do you think, what makes you different than some other 27-year-olds? Is this a typical conversation, or did it come from your father?
So originally, I think I've been always, I'd say, like, not death positive, but open-minded in those terms, because in my family, mortality was always like, I think it's just my parents. They have an amazing humor, and they're very honest. So sometimes, from time to time, over my childhood, they've been dropping like, hey, we're actually not gonna be here forever. Let's enjoy this moment. Or like, they've been pretty open, like, and dropping it occasionally. And that's why, and I've been sharing my fears, like, oh my God, you're gonna die. How am I gonna be without you? And they were like, just fine. You're actually gonna be just fine. You'll grow out of this. It's a normal way. It's actually a good thing when parents die before their kids. This is something normal. So in my family, it is a part of the culture that is just how things are. And they were trying to present it in a very normal, gentle way. So that's why I've been always, it took a while to come to peace with those thoughts. And I think in a way they're still scary for me, and I'm very surprised that people my age, like, their parents gonna die. Are they aware of this? And why are nobody talking? Why people are not, even freaking out a little bit on this topic? So I've been always curious about this. Of course, I don't come to my friends and be like, hey, what's up with your parents? Are they fine? And things like this. But I always had this idea and a little passion of mine to do something in this field, maybe to help people come to peace with some of those ideas, because I think it's normal, and things are easier when you know about them ahead. So that's why I really love what people are doing nowadays in education, and will take in step. Especially, I come from a different country with different traditions, different legal background. So when I learn things, and I'm an immigrant in this country, but it's even more important to all the immigrants in this country to know how pre-planning works, because there's no pre-planning in my country. There is no estate planning or those types of wills, and in America it's just very different, very
right?
difficult.
I mean, we're like documentation heavy.
Very, yeah, and it's sometimes people face a huge, apart from loss, it's a great financial shock. It might, if things are not documented properly and taken care of at the proper time, it's a horrible experience, and that makes it even more important than just the emotional part of preparations that you can make. So yeah, something like this inspired me in general.
It empowered. You had your parents, your family behind you, and you really look, I mean, anyone who's in this death tech space, we're kind of wired for it, right? I mean, we don't shy away from the conversation. Both of us are just why do people think death is a taboo topic? It's not. It should be a taboo topic. This is something, the most humanistic thing we'll all go through. So why be afraid of it? But I love how you've not just taken it on, but now you've been open to, working in a business to allow people to embrace this stage of life. So talk more about the technology that your company is bringing to the table.
Yeah, so a little bit on the backstory. So I saw the product, I saw how good it is, so I immediately wanted hey, I want this for myself, and I want this for my dad. So we kick off our onboarding with a personal interview. We used to, for our first 100 clients, I did 3-hour interviews via Zoom, and it was amazing. I think every person in their life deserve a spotlight like this to talk about what matters to them. And I even at the end of those conversations, starting from a childhood and to up to date, and maybe some messages to the future, I was if you have this 3-5 minutes, what would is that you really want to say? I don't know, you imagined yourself being on TV or in a very important interview. What would you say? What's the truth that is just burning inside? And I'm so excited that apart from this pre-planning thing, it's also an opportunity for some people to actually gather everything they've ever collected and share it in a very honest way. Of course, we're not pushing people to overshare some personal trauma, and if they're not ready to embrace some parts of themselves, but maybe it will help them. Anyway, I first of all, I loved the idea, because I think every person deserve that time and attention to them. I think every life is just
a life review that you sit on you're on a call with them for 3 hours, and they're just I was born in 1967, and this is is that really how your interviews go?
Well, right now we automated it. It's still very personalized, and people like it a lot. It's they're engaging. There was a moment when I was oh no, if I step out of this process, what if they won't share? But no, it's going great. I think they got a little shorter, and maybe if I would stay on the interviews, I would still dig. But I think it gives some people are okay, I'm in the spotlight, and they're talking 3 hours straight. Others people are oh, I actually hesitate that I have any wisdom in my life, so they're kind of not very precious about what they've actually lived through. But I was so engaged and deeply touched by every story I came across, and it's just fascinating. We and the people we captured, it was founders of caviar production in California, and they're like super huge. Or Berkeley, a female activist, and she's been like she captured the crazy time living through 70s in San Francisco, joining some pretty big activations on her side, and she's like doing this female research in Berkeley. So, and when we just approached those people and we talked and they got interest, they were like, I actually hesitate that I would have that much to share, but I'd say I would dedicate 3 more hours per each of this person, because of how interesting it is, how the person is being shaped, how they start early on, and where they pivoted multiple times through life. So yeah, the tech is the memory. I think the secret sauce of ours is how we operate with those facts, because we're different from ChatGPT. It actually remembers only 15 last chats, and some of the core memory that it remembers, like you ask it, or it automatically just spots some interesting things about you and remember. We are actually capable of, we're mapping a lot of things, connecting them to each other. So it is, no matter how big and extensive the persona that we're capturing, we're able to digest quite a lot of informations. And we do have all those people, they have podcasts. We should do your persona too. We can work with a lot of you. I bet you have a lot of audio. So we take the interview, that's where the person talks about themselves. If the person has any types of videos, audios, podcasts, any type of digital blueprint, such as like social media posts or their research papers, any types of publication, we can work with all of that, and we automatically digest it and build into this person. So you actually don't have to, sit there for 3 hours and there's already some information about you piece by piece. We can help it collect and show you the beautiful picture. And we're recording the voice, cloning it to be correct, and everything that you hear out of the persona, digital persona that we create, is not recorded but generated. So on one side we kind of have a brain, and on the other side we have the voice, and we combine them, and that's how we create a pretty precise representation of the person. And the education, the learning of it never stops while you are alive and interacting, which is a fascinating part. You can never stop.
Never stop. So let me ask, just from a technical standpoint, so you're building the memories based on a large language model, right? So that's, for people that don't know, AI is built on large language models. So multiple models out there: ChatGPT, Perplexity, Grok, Gemini, Claude, like those are all large language models. So the idea is that you're basically taking and building. Now, are you building it on your own large LLM, or if you're working on a different one, like an already pre-existing?
So it's different for different clients, different amounts of information, but the common practice, what we do is we take the model and we fine-tune it with the new data, so it actually feels like you. So it's the most important part, and on my side, like without being too technical, is that trying to capture the communication style of the person, like basically how.
So it's my voice.
Apart from the voice, is more like which words do you use, where do you pause, where do you stop, what kind of like intonations, do you talk a lot, or do you just drop a little sentence and you pause and wait for the. So there is a lot of behavioral patterns in the speech, which can be already like said a lot about you. So we're trying to basically create and mimic your behavior originally. And of course, there is like an LLM that we take, because they're very good in like general knowledge. But on top of it, let's say we like pre-train your little model, like using the core fundamental foundation, and on top it's like your little small model, which is quite proprietary.
So then the idea is, so you're doing this procuring of the images, voice, and so forth while the person is still alive. correct?
Yeah, yeah.
So if grandma is already in memory care for Alzheimer's end stage, I kind of missed the opportunity there. Is that what you're saying?
Well, originally this project started from the aftercare. So my co-founder, he lost his grandfather 5 years ago, and he recreated, let's say, his persona for his grandmother and the whole family. It was a pretty big emotional moment. He had some voice recordings. Well, I think he kind of was pre-planning because there was quite a lot of their voice conversations. I come across a lot of people who do that actually. They just record some conversations and then re-listen. And his grandfather had a book because he was a war hero. So he had quite a lot of information. He interviewed the family members. So he kind of came from not a pre-planning side. And we do have some customers coming in from partnerships from the aftercare, and people are interested in this topic. But I think our message right now is to focus on, and we by the way, we do have some people with Alzheimer, Parkinson's disease, terminal ill patients, but I'd rather try to focus right now, because it's a matter of focus always when you're building something, with a pre-planning part, because that's where we can capture the person themselves with their like consent,
True essence, right?
True essence, their true thoughts, not trying to recreate the puzzle, although it is possible, but it would require some involvement from the family members. It can be a healing experience. We'll go this way one day, but right now I'd rather focus, on the pre-planning side, because death care is huge, memory care, senior care is huge. So it's a matter of you going slowly and be very sensitive with this topic, because we don't want to harm people.
Well, Kate, you and I are on a mission. That pre-planning, the pre-discussions. Can we start having these conversations when life is good? Like, let's not wait. Let's not wait until. And I think the only way we're going to do this, and again, both of us are on that mission to break through, we call it taboo, but death shouldn't be taboo. The conversation shouldn't be taboo. And now that there's this digital component, every day I say it, we are the first generation that's going to die with more digital assets than physical ones. So we need to plan. And we need to be proactive in these conversations. Conversations like digital consent, and what if, here's a challenge. Say, for example, I want my digital afterlife to be memorialized on a platform like yours, but maybe my adult children don't, right? And now I die unexpectedly, and I've already prepaid for this, but they don't want access to it. Their conversations need to be had ahead of time.
And it's not only about even the digital assets. I think it's all about. It's just hard, because especially when things are good, you don't you'd be like approaching your dad and be like, "Hey, by the way, I've been in this death care space. Did you do anything for the pre-planning? Do you have a will?"
And they don't.
Did you take care of this? And they'd be like, "No, I'm good. Why are you asking? Why are you asking this?" And I don't think it should be this way. So I think there should be more kickers in terms of why would you do this, and something to be considered normal. So you pick your insurance plan while you're actually in a good health, and everything's fine. It's just a normal practice. When you purchase insurance, this is some normal practice. You don't expect to go to the hospital and actually use it. So it's I think it should be something normal, like any types of financial assets. We do taxes also, so why don't we integrate some of those even legal practices from a legal point and practical side here. So
it's just making decisions. It's just, what do you want done? So talk to me about how you deliver the experience. Is it on an app, on a website? What's that looking like? I'm gone tomorrow, and I've already taken care of upload of the Niki avatar. How is my family going to be able to access and have the experience? What's the UX like?
So sure, everything right now everything is done through our platform, which is like it's a SaaS solution. So you can open it on any types of laptops, phones, any types of iPads, any type of device. I think it's the best way for now because it's very easy, very accessible, comes good with any types of device. So once you created a persona, also through any type of device that you had, uploaded all of your memories, conversations, and at the beginning we have like signed a contract with you where you did some parts of the pre-planning, and there's actually some parts where there is like a termination date if you want it to be like not a forever but like I don't know 10, 15, maybe 50 years. There is an assignee of your account. There's some things that, hey, I don't want my grandkids to have access to this account, so I don't want it ever to be changed. I want it to be like this way. So it's like we're closing it, and then you just share the links with the family members you want. You can make your account public, private, or shared, or multiple things at the same time. And apart from this, we went even further. You can make some of your personality parts, just like a real human being, private or public. So for example, maybe there are some childhood memories that are very intimate for you and you want it to be shared only with your family members, or not even maybe with anybody's, but it's still a part of who you are, like your personality. So there are some parts that are kept private, public, or shared like with the family. They don't interfere. So you can either share the links with your family. Each conversation is going to be like separate. Each of them would have their own space with you. The memory is going to be shared within this chat, but nothing would actually influence your core personality because it's like protected from the inside of the account, and the links are just the access to talk with your representation. So I think it's very advanced, almost like talking to a human in terms of like the multiple layers of this personality are accessible for different
that
people.
Experience.
Yeah.
And then what's this fee structure? And am I coming directly, do I have to go through a vendor, or do I just go onto your website and make that purchase?
No, right now we're focusing for many reasons, and I think one of the most important parts here is this sensitivity of the topic and coming at the right place, because I don't know, I think everybody in the pre-planning space kind of faced it, that it's really hard to go to direct consumer because they're like not ready for this conversation, not ready to do any actions. So we're going through partners right now because at those stages people make first contacts, for example, with legal side of the path, or educational. So it's a better place for us to touch base with the customer. Plus, we're also seeing ourselves as something beneficial for the business, because here, like, we can bring an emotional layer there. We can bring additional revenue stream. We can increase potential LTV, or basically try to help business-wise some businesses who are looking for ways to stay in touch with the families, with the clients, and yeah, there's some problems that we're also targeting, like business-wise.
Well, this is just an amazing opportunity for people, and I think it's what we're trying to do is change the conversation around what our legacy is going to look like. Right? I mean, our digital legacy, and for people to realize that we can live on forever if that's something that someone wants to bring to their family. And so what would be the best way for somebody to open up that conversation with their family? Like, do they have to besides contacting you, or they gather their photographs, or is there a questionnaire that they need to start thinking about?
No, it's actually with us. I think I understand where you're coming from, like that this is not an instant decision, or you're like, yeah, actually, yeah, let's kick off 3-hour conversation about my life. Happy to share. Always been waiting for this moment. No, so our user journey starts like with the onboarding, and we ask like, hey, let's chat for like a couple minutes. Well, originally we would love for the person to dedicate 30 minutes of their time initially, because that is some investment on the side of the person of their time. Importantly, this is the time where we could clone the voice correctly in the best way possible. And yeah, usually it's easier to do by parts. So anytime that you feel any type of discomfort, or you want to stop, or you just want to like sit and reflect, you can stop the interview and you can get back to it anytime. So even at with my account, which is like pretty extensive representation of everything that I've been going through and going in my life, I can sit, click, there is always like an interview button, and my persona would scan everything that I've already like shared and start asking more questions to extend the information like from that it already has. Like as a normal person, like if I would know you just a little bit of you, I'd start asking from your past. So but actually how was your childhood, so how was it growing up there? So it feels pretty natural. So anytime the person would want to continue this process is great. I also think about it as a way of writing a biography for people that don't actually like feel like sitting writing a book. I like a metaphor of an interactive biography, like when you have some thoughts, and usually quite a lot of people do have some cool thoughts, and I think there should be some kind of positive reinforcement of sharing those things, because they're actually valuable. And I hate when I come across experience when people are like, I actually think there's like 3 advice that I would give like my grandkids, and that's it. While when we talk to some people at like age of 40, 50, they're like, oh my god, my grandfather, he was an amazing person. He was a war hero. He survived through depression and some economic crises. I would love to hear like those stories. So I believe there's like the time frame that we're living in is quite turbulent, and it's always interesting like to
that's where my mind was going. It's like, this is a while, like to be able to document personally. I mean, I see it already where on social media where people are documenting their like from diagnosis to death. Like people are what their cancer journeys are like, or when they have some sort of disease, but maybe they're not able to capture some of the good stories. And you're providing a platform that's off social media, right? So it's the social media. So then I guess my question is, because this is my, as a cybersecurity, who's going to own all that data? So if I'm going to be a user and a client, where does all that data live? And how does my family have control of it when I'm gone for 20, 30, 50 years?
So full control on the client side and their family. Like we're so focused on the security, and that's like a crucial topic. It is so important and crucial to us that we even thought, and it's like a plan maybe for 5-7 years ahead, that we would eventually move to hardware, so that everything would be stored and run locally, because it's like the most secure way. It's basically like having a flash card or anything like that.
I mean, blockchain comes into my mind, like maybe that's where the future is going to be heading. I don't know where your roadmap is, but I would think that something like this is where eventually is that you have your own blockchain. Each individual has their own blockchain, and their blockchain just has all of their information, their legacy, that they own, and they own and control.
But even with a blockchain, the most secure part is to have a cold wallet. if
Right,
you know.
off chain.
Off chain, yeah. Even being secured on blockchain, you gotta have something like this. But yeah, everything's encrypted, and as I mentioned, we treat what we create as an asset, as like a new asset. So we do have the owner. We don't own any data. We don't use it in training or anywhere else. We have a pretty big documentation for clients who are heavily focused on the security question, but so far we've been able to figure out every case, every concern out there. We did covered with our contract, like client contract and service agreement that we sign with everybody. So we do have an assignee who would own this account after death, the owner, and it's up to you, like to decide while you're alive, what would happen with it, and what happens if we go out of business, how we will be able to still deliver up to the expectations of our customers. How do we, if the client wants to terminate the account or like delete it, erase it, what would happen with what we created, because originally it was created and paid for. So we're covering all of this, and we're 100% standing on the customer side with providing a secure and trustful experience.
Well, listen, this is another Pandora's box, another option for people to really open up and explore when they're thinking about their plan, and to be able to do that way ahead of time, to have these conversations with the people that are part of your life, and to what are your beliefs? How much of your digital afterlife do you want to continue to live on? And so I think that your company really offers people an option, an amazing option, especially with the integration of artificial intelligence and how that's going to be able to keep their spirit alive. So with that, Kate, what are like some action items that our listeners can do today and to prepare for tomorrow?
Sure. So just to share some of things that I've been seeing online.
Yeah. As
you did mention, the people with terminal illnesses, documenting their journey, bringing awareness. And apart from this, I was just, we're partnering with some influencers in this space, and we're doing a lot of personas for free for people who are at the end of life, and helping them capture their stories. And I've seen what happens with those pages after people die, and surprisingly, their relatives usually take over and continue documenting their journey, or trying to continue their story, sharing how they're now dealing with this person being gone. Or I found an amazing page of a woman. She's been actually online for 10 years, and she's been sharing her recipes and cooking things. So now her grandchildren are just reposting some of the old things for her subscribers after her death, after she passed away. They're still sharing some of those things, and I think it's in our human nature, or maybe it's just my personal belief, is that we really want to leave something behind. It's in our core nature. I think that's why people write books. We want to build something for our children to witness, influence others in life. And I think it's very unpredictable on how you can actually influence other people. We usually underestimate this. We'll be like, oh no, I was just a good person, not an influencer, not anything. But I do believe that we have an influence on at least some people that we're surrounded with, and we do underestimate some things that we can bring to them, how we can lighten up their day. So about my pre-planning side, I think, so the first thing I did was to do the personas for me and my dad. This was actually what made me go through the rest of the pre-planning journey. I think that's what made me think of all of those questions. And I think that's why I do really want it for other people to have such experience, such a smooth experience, when you're like, actually, hey, let's do this. Hey Dad, I actually want to document some of your stories, it'd be great. Like, you're amazing. So, and later on, you'd be like, hey, by the way, what's up with the legal things? Have you thought about it?
It opens the conversation.
And I did finally decide, like, through all of the education, that I was nowhere near of learning those things. I did some decisions about myself that I'd probably go over cremation rather than traditional burial. So it was quite a smooth, decision and journey. It was like okay, now I know. Now I actually know how this decision is made, and I don't want that for some reasons, and I want that for some reasons. So, and it's pretty clear why. Why would you want it? And just to drop a funny, I don't know, note, it was like planning a party about you without you. I was like, basically, I was thinking of like coming up with like a life celebration, and I was like, okay, but what if they do this? I actually would hate this, and I don't know if it's funny or it's wrong, but at least that's what I was thinking about. Like my case, I don't know, my funeral, the way like I would be gone, and it just made it super simple and comfortable. Basically, like, if you think about it as like a planning an event that would like honor you, you'd want it like the best way in your best taste. And it's not.
And just for time's sake here, I mean, what you're really saying is to be able to have the conversations in order, not just planning for yourself, but it also allows your loved ones to plan as well. And with that, thank you so much, Kate. I really appreciate your expertise and this really cool new solution that your company is bringing to the world. If people were interested in connecting with you, best place to find both you and if they wanted to learn more.
Sure. So the best place to find us is through my LinkedIn, or our website is very user-friendly. You can find our accounts there. You can talk to our digital representations, or you can drop your email there in the demo part, and we'll hop up on a call with you and give you the best experience possible.
And your URL?
It's pantio.io.
Perfect. And with that, thank you so much, and we'll end here. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Oh, a pleasure. Thank you for listening to the Digital Legacy Podcast, where we talk about death and dying in the digital age. I hope this conversation inspired you to take control and plan for the inevitable to protect yourself and those you leave behind. Don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter at digitallegacypodcast.com. Remember, life is full of surprises. What happens after you die shouldn't be. So keep your passwords safe and your playbook up to date.